So right now we're going to go over all of the necessary apps you need to have downloaded for your Shopify store before we continue. Now, one keynote about the apps that I'm about to recommend, a lot of people mention that certain apps such as Oberlo are causes of suspensions with Google Merchant Center accounts and Google Ads accounts. Now, while I'm not able to confirm this information, it's just important for me to let you know what is out there because a lot of people do have already mentioned this. And while I have not had any kinds of issues having Oberlo on my Shopify store and then applying for the Merchant Center, you may be a case where this actually could be an issue. So whatever apps I'm about to mention you, do proceed at your own risk. However, again, just a key note, I've been able to get my Merchant Center account for a brand new Shopify store I launched in end of 2020, beginning of 2021 with all of these apps installed already on the Shopify store, and I had no types of issues getting my account approved. Of course, yes, I did have to appeal it a few times because it was suspended in the beginning, but I was able to get it back after the second or third appeal while having all of these apps. So here are the necessary apps you're going to have to download on your Shopify store. And in the next course video, we're going to go over exactly how to set some of these up, such as the main ones like Klaviyo and SMS marketing. But here is the list. The first one is cart notifications. This is an app where right at the top where your tabs are open, there will be a little cart notification just like this one that pops up. And the main reason behind why we want this app on our store is so that a customer is more inclined because of the pop-up, and it's going to pop up in any color you want. I recommend red for the pop-up just so it pops out more, and a customer's attention, if they're on a different tab, is going to go back to your tab and they'll go back to your Shopify, back to your website. So this is why I recommend having cart notifications. With Conversion Plus, a very simple app, it basically lets you add a timer to the cart page or the checkout page. Now, I normally recommend that you add a timer to the cart page instead of the checkout page, just because in my experience, I found it to be more efficient to have on the cart page. But again, that's entirely up to you. You can feel free to test different things if you like. However, I do recommend having it on the cart page only. This app right here is not needed. It's for a special Shopify dropshipping agent, which I use. I'll have a link to him and his services in one of the later videos. But the next app is, of course, Facebook. And again, we need this installed just so we can add our products to the Facebook shop and whatnot. So that's the only reason why I have the Facebook app even installed on my Shopify store. But the next one, of course, the most important app you need to have for Google Ads, and that is Feed for Google Shopping. Now, of course, we're going to be setting up the Feed for Google Shopping app in one of the later videos, but this is an extremely important app to have because it's going to let us connect our Shopify products directly to our Google Merchant Center and our Google Ads account. But this brings me to the next app on the list, and this is the Google Sales Channel right here. Now, I don't really use this Google Sales Channel to submit my feed, so you don't really need to even have this downloaded. But I do recommend the Feed for Google Shopping app, as that is a must to have. The next app on the list is Keep Cart. Now, the beauty about the Keep Cart is that it's going to save a potential customer's cart on their computer, so that if they were to log out of their computer and then go back on a mobile phone on your website, the cart items will still be there for them. And this is tracked through the IP address and whatnot. But an amazing app to make sure that the customer doesn't have to go through the entire checkout process again, and it can just basically start from where it stopped. But this brings me to the next app on the list, and this is Klaviyo. Of course, one of the most important apps you can have because it lets you create all of the automated email flows, which we'll be focusing within one of the next course videos. Next one is Loox. I don't recommend Ali Reviews or any of the other review apps out there because later on, when you do have a successful Shopify store with Google Ads running, you're going to want to apply to the Google Shopping Review Program, which is when you can see the review stars right below your listings on Google Shopping. That is a huge conversion rate booster and a huge authority figure to your Shopify store, simply because not a lot of stores even have registered to that program, let alone gotten approved. But of course, since you got this course, you're going to get approved to that review program, and it's going to help increase your sales by tenfold. I know it did for me. But once you download Loox, we're going to then download Oberlo. Again, in my experience, I've not had any issues downloading Oberlo and then applying for the Merchant Center. But if you think it's a bit risky, then you can leave this out and manually add your products for now until you get approved to the Merchant Center. But this brings me to the SEO Optimizer by Booster Apps application. This application is for your images within your descriptions. It makes sure that the sizing and everything is all correct and that the images aren't too big or aren't taking too much size. and that is what we want in order to have a fast running website. But next app is SMS Bump Marketing and Automation, a very similar app to Klaviyo, but SMS Bump, what it does is that it does the same job as Klaviyo would, but through text messaging and SMS, because a lot of individuals, instead of entering their email addresses, actually end up entering their phone number. So what SMS Bump does is it does the same exact thing as Klaviyo would, and it goes and sends those automated flows to the phone numbers that the customers have inserted while checking out. But this brings me to the next step on the list, and this is Sticky Add to Cart by the GAF team. This application, what it does is makes your Add to Cart button on your product page sticky, which means if you scroll down below your Add to Cart button on a desktop, on a mobile device, wherever you're on your website on, the Add to Cart button is going to follow you at the bottom of your screen or at the top of your screen throughout your scrolling process. So even if you're at the very end of the product page, all the way at the bottom looking at the reviews, the Add to Cart button will still be visible, and you can still click that Add to Cart button and go to the cart page from there. So a very useful app to have, and something that I definitely recommend for your Shopify store. But this brings me to the final app on the list, and this is the True Profit Tracking app. Now, this is the same app as Order Metrics. If you have ever used Order Metrics, it's basically a way to track your profits, your sales, and your daily income and expenses, so you don't have to manually do everything. This app takes good care of it, and I personally downloaded this app over Order Metrics because it is a much cheaper alternative. So if you're trying to save money, True Profit is the way to go. But these are the apps you must have in order to run your Shopify store, and what I recommend you focus on right now before moving on to the next step.